with another tutorial, and this time we have a quick tips and tricks kind of video. So this is how you spice up your arrangement and add a little bit of life and variety to it. So the first quick tip I want to show you is if you go to File, you'll see your recent projects, and next to it you'll see the shortcut to open them. So whenever you open up FL Studio, if you're working on one project consistently, like for me, I've been working on this one project for the last few videos, and I'm going to keep working on it for the next few videos. So I just press, every time I open up FL, I just press Alt 1 and it'll open up the project. So that's a quick tip and trick for you guys. So let's take a look at the arrangement real quick. I have an intro, a 16-bar intro, an 8-bar hook, a 16-bar verse, a 4-bar pre-chorus, a hook, another verse, another pre-chorus, another hook, a bridge where everything goes down in octave and low energy, and then a final hook where everything plays and it kind of is an outro, and then it fades out to the end. So how do we add a little bit of spice and life to it? So if you look at the 808, which is down here, it plays during the first hook, then it goes out and brings down the energy into the first verse so that everything changes up and the drums change up and the instruments change up, so you know you're going into a verse from a hook. Then 8 bars in, the 808 comes back in, and then it plays during the pre-chorus, and then it goes into the hook. But on the second verse, instead of cutting out the 808, it keeps playing to keep the energy up while the beat changes up around it, and then it cuts out for the second 8 bars and then comes back in for the pre-chorus and then the hook all the way throughout the rest of the track. So what can we do to add a little bit of variety in this section right here without the 808? So the first thing we're going to do is add an accent layer. So I'm going to play it for you real quick. It's called Accents. I'm going to play just the layer for you, and then I'm going to go over how I made the layer. So, for the actual sound itself, I'm using Flex, and I'm using the free Obey Compendium expansion, and I'm using the preset called Music Box. I played with the macros, and I turned it down to gain stage it, and I turned off the limiter too. And of course, I'm going to make a video on how to mix instruments, just like I did with my drums and 808. If you haven't seen that video, watch it now, how to mix drums and 808. It's with the same beat, so I'm going to kind of make a full series out of this one beat, so you can get a full set of tutorials. So, how did I come up with this pattern? It looks a little complicated for a second, but if you actually take a second to decode it, it's not that hard. So, first things first, we're going to go to our piano. This is what I started with. I basically Control A, Control C, I copied it, and then I went to my accents and I pasted it. And then, if I paste on the piano, copy. So if I go to my piano and I copy it, and I paste it in my accents, you can kind of see what's going on here when I go over to the music box. I'm just filling in the chords and having them hit every quarter note, so that instead of being on a whole note rhythm, a whole note rhythm pretty much, with a few transition exceptions, which now I can delete this. I am basically just filling that in, and then at the bottom I'm playing with the velocity, so I kind of accent every other hit basically. So that's the sound right there, and that is going to fill in for when the 808 drops out. Listen for it. actually have the instrument also play during the pre-chorus, which, if you remember from the other tutorials, is just the second half of the of the 8 bars of the verse that repeats. So it's just the second half. So the second half basically just plays twice, and so I made that part of the pre-chorus so that on the first pre-chorus you hear the accents come in as an extra sound, and it kind of teases how they're going to come in and take over during the second verse instead of the 808. Now, I also, if you go to the final hook, which is also the outro, you can see I had it, but I made the pattern unique, and I did one extra thing. I took the final, basically at the end of the 8 bars, I added an extra bar, which is the root note chord, the root chord of the key, which we're in the key of D minor, so it's a D chord. I added that, and I did that also with the piano, you can see, and with the 808, which is just plays the root note. And the reason I did that is because it adds a conclusion to the beat and makes it kind of finish off. Here, I'll play the final hook for you guys, and I'll play the part of the bridge, because what I'm going to do next is an arrangement trick on the arpeggio. So listen to how it goes from low energy to high energy, from the bridge to the hook. You hear how the beat kind of draws to a conclusion? It kind of finishes up everything. So that kind of gives a proper outro to your beat. And it's really simple. You just add the root note chord back to the end of your track. And what I can do to add more energy is take this arpeggio, which remember, everything here is down an octave. The pads and the arp is down an octave. The 808 is still in the same octave. So what I can do, I can take the arp, which, as you can see here, is in the 4th to 6th octave. What I can do is bring it up an octave. And now you can see it's in the 5th to 7th octave. So you actually have a jump up an octave. And it's actually an octave higher than the original, which is in the 4 to 6. And here it's in the 3 to 5. So now it's in the 5 to 7 on the final arp. So it jumps up a total of 2 octaves throughout the whole track. So let's listen to how that changes everything. So yeah, those are some quick and easy tips and tricks for adding some spice and life and variety to your tracks. Thank you all so much for watching. This is Sad Boy Music signing off. Good.